Jamal Murray and the Denver Nuggets took care of business at home in Denver. With this series shifting to Minnesota, could Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves show some fight and get back in it? Edwards did his part. The young fella knocks in the three. And then Jamal Murray answers with a beautiful finish on the other end. Look at Murray, shift hands. He's back to the old Jamal Murray, ladies and gentlemen. His former Kentucky teammate, Karl-Anthony Towns, had a pretty darn good game as well. How about Cat getting to the money? Everybody mad. 27 points for Karl-Anthony Towns. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope had him a really good first half. How about 13 points in half number one for KCP? Uncle Jeff still throwing it down, and then back to the Caldwell-Pope show. He thought, how about Edwards going and getting him one? And then on the other end, going and getting him two. Anthony Edwards giving it everything he's got, both ends of the court. That's the type of effort Minnesota needs to get back in this series. Can you believe AE's not even 22 years of age yet? He's 21, y'all. Third quarter, the reigning two-time MVP, Nikola Jokic, goes back to work. Then Rudy Gobert with a throwdown. Back to Edwards using his left. He's so versatile. His bucket cuts the Minnesota deficit down to 6. But who's going to deal with this dude? Jokic. A nasty move off his pivot. And then Jokic up top to Aaron Gordon. Y'all already know what type of time Nikola Jokic is on. Another triple-double. He goes 20 points, 11 rebounds, 12 assists. Jamal Murray and Denver well on their way to taking a commanding 3-0 series lead, despite Edwards tying Kobe for 30-point games under the age of 22 with 4. It's the Denver Nuggets getting the most important stat, and that's the dub, 121-11. It is put up or shut up time for Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves, facing elimination, down 3 games to zip, with the reigning two-time MVP in your building trying to end this one by way of sweep. Could Minnesota stop Denver? Who's going to stop that man? Jamal Murray, ladies and gentlemen, continues to look like him. Aaron Gordon, a beautiful reverse alley. He's good for like one of those once a game. Other end we go. Karl-Anthony Towns dealt with some foul trouble in this one. How about that, Deuce? At the half, though, Denver had the lead. Third quarter, Jokic steps up to the plate and delivers. He's been called out for playoff struggles in the past. He did not have those concerns in this one. A playoff career high 43 points. Say it with me, ladies and gentlemen. His name is Nikola Jokic. But this dude on the other end of the court's name is Anthony Edwards, and he balled out as well. Then there's Jamal Murray. We're tied at 73. Some just unreal shot making from some phenomenal players on both ends of the court. How about Minnesota making a run late in the third? Look at this play Kyle Anderson tried to make. It'll end up with Edwards hitting him in the face. Not a good sight if you're a Minnesota fan. Anderson would go to the back. Could Minnesota get this dub without one of their young leaders is the question we got as we enter the fourth. Karl-Anthony Towns goes and when he had 17 points, 11 boards. Look at Jokic work. Give it back to me. The big fella finishes. Edwards on the other end. Looking like T-Mac with that fadeaway deuce. The Nuggets are down 9 with about 2 minutes to go. That's when Michael Porter Jr. decides to nail back-to-back threes. And just like that, it's a 3-point game. Jokic like, don't mind if I do. Jokic delivers in the clutch. It's a 1-point game. Denver's down. Jokic and the Nuggets got the rock. And how about this call? I thought it was a bad one. Cat is called for his 5th foul. A little touch of the back on Jokic. Nikola goes to the line with a chance to put Denver up a point. He misses the first, but makes the second. We're tied at 96. Last chance for the T-Wolves. Beautiful defense leads us to overtime. Michael Porter's like, yeah, we're probably about to win this one. Mike Conley and the T-Wolves say, no, you're not. Conley going glass for a 3. Denver now trying to make another push. It's Cat called for his 6th foul. See, I thought that was a foul. He clearly pushed Jokic in the back. I thought the last one was ticky-tacky. This one definitely a foul. With Towns going, who does Minnesota go to? Well, first they go to Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And then it's Anthony Edwards. Meet him at the rim. AE with 34 points. Denver looking like they about to lose until Jokic throws a beautiful dime. If Russell Wilson had one more season like he did last year, they need to call on the Joker. And then Jokic inside with the deuce. Denver now trails just by a point again. But this time around, Edwards says good night to Denver and hold on to that sweep. Put that broom away. We ain't going out like that. Minnesota, they've never been swept in their franchise history, and it won't happen this year either. They get game 4. They now try to pull off the unthinkable, winning game 5 in Denver. But for now, they celebrate an overtime win. Yeah, I got to give Anthony Edwards a lot of credit. It was him pretty much saying, I'm going to do everything in my power in games 3 and 4 to put my Minnesota Timberwolves squad in a position to win both of these games. Now, Minnesota wasn't able to take care of business in game 3, but they did in game 4. And look, it's game 4. You know, Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves are most likely not going to come back from 3 games to zip against the 1-seeded Denver Nuggets. That's very, 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 very unlikely. I'll just leave it at that. It's very unlikely. But I will say this to AE. The amount of passion that he played with in these 2 games, it's impressive to see him and Minnesota not quit as a team. And I want to give him credit because, you know, I think I saw Charles Barkley following the game 4 say, hey, I think Anthony Edwards is going to be a superstar. I'm not going to be there just yet. I'm going to be one of the last to the Anthony Edwards party. I'm going to be one of the last on that train. Obviously, I know how good he is. If you've been following this platform for quite some time, I was one of the first people to compare this man, his game, to Tracy McGrady. I know how good he is. For me, though, still very raw. He's obviously very young and still very immature for me. Just a little too immature for me to start putting those superstar-like expectations on him. I'm not nowhere near there. I'm not there. The talent is there, but I'm not there. But I have to admit to you guys, his play, his drive in games 3 and 4 was very impressive. And I told you guys this, I believe, last year on the platform as Minnesota was getting eliminated by the Memphis Grizzlies in the first round in a tough series, by the way. I said the day that Anthony Edwards becomes the Minnesota Timberwolves' best player, they would be in serious contention out west. I want to go ahead and clean this comment up. I was wrong about that, y'all. But let me break that down. I thought it would take AE a couple years to pass by Karl Anthony Towns as the T-Wolves' best player. He's done it in 1 season. And I'm not just talking about Cat being injured in the regular season. Right now, Anthony Edwards has been pretty much healthy all year for Minnesota, and Cat took the year off, pretty much. In the playoffs right now against Denver, Karl Anthony Towns looks clearly the second option on Minnesota. It's clearly Edwards' team right now. I did not expect this transition to happen this quickly. It's too quick for me to still stand by what I said when I was like, yo, the day that AE becomes the best player, Minnesota's going to be contending out west. It happened too quick. I hedged my bet. I spoke too soon. I said that a couple years ago. I didn't know AE was going to become better. Part of it's because AE continues to develop, but there's another piece to the puzzle. Karl Anthony Towns ain't getting better to me. He's not. And you know, Karl Anthony Towns made some comments about Anthony Edwards to begin this year. Go back on the channel. We talked about him in great detail about how he doesn't like how Anthony Edwards, you know, I guess doesn't take care of his body right now. You know, Anthony Edwards is a hot Cheetos type of guy, if I'm not mistaken. Well, no matter how we got here, I'm looking at both of these dudes right now, late in the season, after Edwards played pretty much the entire year and Cat didn't. AE looks healthier, fresher, and hungrier than Karl Anthony Towns. So I don't, look, Cat said what he said about AE to start this year off. Make it make sense to me, because it doesn't right now. The Minnesota Timberwolves are currently under the Anthony Edwards regime. Again, to me, it would be better off for them to be under Cat's regime. He's the guy that just got the extension, going to make $60 million in the last years of his contract. He's the guy that should be the leader right now. I don't believe the Minnesota Timberwolves are in great hands just yet with Anthony Edwards being their best player and having to step up as their leader right now because he's still childish. I'm just being honest. He's not there yet. He's not there yet up here. His game is there. He's not there yet up here, and he would probably tell you that if you got him in a room somewhere. Karl Anthony Towns got to step up and do his end of the deal, man. He played hard in Game 3. Game 4 was a little, there was some spots where I thought he could have been better. Nikola Jokic really got into a groove in games 3 and 4. Edwards keeps the Minnesota Timberwolves season alive. Get his young bull a lot of credit. Scoring 30. He actually passed by the late, great Kobe Bryant on that list of guys that scored 30 in the playoffs under the age of 22. Still 21. AE won't be 22 until August, y'all. So pretty much when next season starts, it will be Anthony Edwards' 22-year-old season. He's getting better at an incredible clip. I'm happy and optimistic about his future. I don't know about superstar just yet, but he is definitely getting better, and he clearly has become the Minnesota Timberwolves' best player this year.